The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning.
Okay, good morning everybody. As usual, we are very familiar now with the 4 negative emotions. Okay, remember the 4 old friends? When we are under tolerance, these are the 4 old friends that we always meet. Fear, anger, guilt, and sadness, which we're very averse of. So that's why we learn how to tolerate. The moment we can get over with these 4 negative emotions, come the next 4, okay? We call the 4 emotional traps, which we have to be even more cautious of it. Today we are going to elaborate on these called 4 positive emotions, which are all trappings of life, okay? So when we do not have negative emotions, usually we will chase after all these 4 emotional traps. We call it the positive emotions, okay? And while chasing after it, we forgot many things because we were not under tolerance. We usually will inflict hurt on others and on ourselves. And we will commit actions like bullying and abandoning, okay? So, situations whereby we chase after these 4 emotional traps are when we are adults, when we have all the law of affordance, when we are somebody's superior, we became parents, and we have old parents, we are the children of old parents, we are a leader, and as long as we are on a position whereby we can exert bully and abandonment, those are the time we have to be very careful, okay? And usually situations we will chase after these 4 emotional traps, we call the 4 positive emotions, are when we already very full in our stomach. The Chinese say when we are full in our stomach, we become greedy. We will want indulgence. Okay, especially when we are quite successful in life, we are very healthy, beautiful, we are of ability and with high position, glamour and power. So all these situations, we have to be double cautious. That's why this entire year, we are entering into effort. It's no longer tolerance. Tolerance is when we do not have the law of affordance. But now with all the law of affordance, all the more we have to be more careful. That's why we make use of effort. Okay? So, if we do not practice effort, when we have all the law of affordance, the next thing is that we will inflict hurt onto others or ourselves. What is next to this? We will see a lot of karmic debt and karmic creditors. Okay, so these are the consequences. That's why we have to be even more careful when we can afford. Right? Why do we chase after all these 4 emotional traps? We will review what are the 4 emotional traps that trap all of us. Everyone here in the room, in effect everyone in the world. So today's class will be quite interesting because it's talking about ourselves again. Okay? So why do we chase after these 4 positive emotions? Right? Number 1, because we've got it all wrong between 快乐 and 高兴. Okay? We want 快乐. Okay, but we do not know how to have 快乐, so we produce 高兴. What is 快乐? 快乐 is quickly delighted. 高兴 is highly excited. 快乐 is from within. Means when we see small little things, see strangers, blue sky, see trees, see padang, we will feel very happy. This is 快乐. And this is from within. 高兴 is you need to be created repeatedly. is highly excited, can be created by all of us. Okay, like for example, throwing parties, going for dinners, traveling, buying new car, new house, all these can be created. A lot of times we cannot get 快乐. We cannot be quickly delighted, especially as we age. We will try to create a lot of excitement. And we thought this is 快乐. We thought this is happiness. This is a delusion. Next, 快乐 usually very light and very easy. And FOC, usually FOC. However, 高兴 can be very tiring and is always pricey. We have to pay for it. Okay? Because we create. Okay. So we thought 高兴 was 快乐 and we do not have 快乐 anymore. So what we do is that we will chase after all the excitement and highly exciting emotions. Okay? So this is number one reason why we chase. That's why we are into the 4 emotional traps. Because we misunderstood happiness with excitement. Number 2, why do we chase for these 4 emotions? Because this can quench the thirst of our second noble truth. First noble truth is life is suffering. Okay? And the cause of suffering is because we are very thirsty. Tanha. Tanha, some people say is desire, some people say craving, quite similar, but the direct translation is thirsty. We are thirsty for what? Remember the previous lessons? We are thirsty of security and we are thirsty of recognition. So you see, every day in our life, we want security, we want recognition. So we chase after these 2 because of our past hurt. What happened in our past life, which sometimes we cannot see. Even with childhood, you can see quite clearly. A lot of times we are very shortchanged. Like for example, we are always under bullying environment, seeing a lot of unfairness, or we are actually easily being abandoned by people around us because that time we are of no law of affordance. So all this hurt cause our hole inside, our hurt. And this hurt cause us to crave for these 2 items, security and recognition. Because when we were young, we were not given all this. Okay? So chasing after these 4 emotional, so-called positive emotions, it's kind of like quenching the thirst of second noble truth. Thirst, and it is bottomless pit. So that's why it's never-ending story. Okay? So let's go into what are the 4 emotions. Number 1, satisfaction. Satisfaction. This satisfaction usually it's out from an achievement. Any achievement, we feel satisfied due to achievement. Okay, let's segregate into two category of people which very famous under 5 PAT, insecure people and inferior people. Okay, under insecure group of people, what kind of satisfaction they go after? Progress. They want a lot of progress. They always progress continuously, and the syndrome that they always carry with them is next, and next. Faster, faster, and faster. So they like to complete the job within very short or using very little resources within the shortest time. And usually this convert into something we call multitasking. Okay, so after we're doing a string of jobs completed within time with the least resources, we feel very satisfied. Correct? Wow, faster, okay? So what we chase after is efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, so when we can achieve this, we feel very satisfied. These are very, very rampant, especially among insecure people. Okay? And after doing this, we feel very solid. Solid. We've done so much. Okay? We feel proud. We take pride of being very efficient and effective. We feel important and indispensable when you are a very busy person. Okay, so because of so much of satisfaction we can get out from this busy schedule, we usually abandon people around us in the name of I am very busy. In actual fact, behind, we are chasing this emotion called satisfaction. Okay? So that's why we start to hurt the people around us. Okay, this is insecure people. What about inferior? Inferior group of people, usually they secure a lot of satisfaction from command for respect. Okay? So, inferior people usually feel satisfied when people around them start to respect and pay a lot of attention to them. Okay? So in order to get this satisfaction, they even resort to fear and force. Sometimes they scold, they speak very loudly, sometimes to the extent humiliate in order to gain respect and also recognition. Say for example, situation, you saw somebody very nasty, then you raise your voice and scolded that person and this person got scared. So that kind of feeling is actually satisfied because the person heard my scolding, ran away. So you feel good. Okay? These are all the small satisfaction we feel. Okay? So because of this command through fear and force, usually we start to bully people around us. In fact, I have confession from friends who are inferior type. They said they feel happy when they see people scared of them. When they see people are afraid of them, so they feel good. Okay? So we start to bully people in the name of I want you to be good. I am teaching you so that you learn your mistake. Sometimes we take it as an excuse to exert our force in order to gain that kind of respect and recognition, and behind it, it was an emotion of satisfaction. And many a times, this satisfaction stems from perfectionism. When they do something, they will go after perfectionism. They want something to be perfect in their eyes. So that's why they will use fear and force to exert on others in order to achieve that perfect situation that they yearn for. Because these perfect situations give them a lot of satisfaction. Okay? So, what about a group of people that do not have so much of power or responsibility to feel solid, progressive, or maybe do not have the position to command respect? What about those people who do not have all this? So they will resort to miscellaneous achievements like buying, buying spree. So that's why they call this therapy called what? Spending therapy. So when you feel small, when you feel lousy, we like to go shopping, right? So when we buy things, we feel good. That one is satisfaction, okay? So some people, they even resort to food, eating food. So they feel satisfied with good food. The worst one can go up to misuse, abuse of drugs. When you take drugs, actually they are chasing after this satisfied feeling. I also have satisfaction. I like to use very cheap price and buy quality things. Got Like, isn't it? Last year, I bought a 35 ringgit Chinese New Year clothing. When I wear to a function, my friend guessed it was 350. Wow. Satisfied, right? This one. So when we do not have a lot of power, a lot of command of respect, or maybe position, or so much work to progress, we will resort to all these small little achievements. Okay? So these are human nature. Number one type of the emotional trap that we chase after. If you are careful enough, you will see actually a lot inside. You know, like those people who are very hasty, they always want to get things done. Actually behind, there's this emotion of, yes, finished, done. And when you exert pressure, you see people scared of you because you're very fierce, you feel good. Some people, they feel like that. And small little achievements got lah, huh? Okay, second, what kind of emotion? Number 2, recognition. Yes.
Help people to get satisfaction.
Help people to get satisfaction. Okay. Actually, okay, to be frank, all these 4 emotions are innocent. Just like our 4 negative emotions, they are all innocent. Again, the culprit is ourselves. It's okay to feel satisfied. That's why I still look for cheap things, but quality product. I still do that. It's okay to have these 4 emotions. Okay, later we will explain. But the question is, where is the crux? How to make a difference? So never mind, we continue with the rest, and I'll tell you why. So under recognition, this is the second emotion we like to chase after. Okay, we want recognition from family members, okay, from my spouse. I want my spouse to think that I am good. Okay, I want my parents to feel proud of me. I want my children to look up to me, right? I want my friends and my colleagues, to say that I'm good. Okay, so all these are recognition. Especially under this type of respect. Number 1, wealth, social status, positions, and power. Okay, so the more wealth, status, power we have, we feel more recognized by the society. Okay, that's why we chase after, right? And second, we also seek for a lot of recognition in terms of looks, beauty, and taste. These are very much the women's side lah. Okay, so we look for all these for recognition. And also we want a recognition of my family. I have a good family. I've got a spouse, a son, a daughter, a dog, a nice car, big house, like advertisement. Chase after all this because we are influenced by social media. So this is also another recognition that we want. Okay, and then another one is ability and capability. We also want the recognition of people say that we are capable, we are smart, we can make money, we are of higher class in terms of ability. Okay, so all these are what we go after. And finally, personality. Very subtly, we want a recognition from the world that I'm a good person. I'm a good person, I'm not bad, I'm kind. That's why a lot of people cannot say no. So we actually had a talk on this compassion with wisdom. Within that talk, we elaborate a lot on how to be a real good person. Doesn't mean that you always say yes, you are a good person. Okay? So sometimes because we want the recognition. So, with this recognition that we want, what do? We work very hard. Okay? We work very, very hard to chase after all this recognition. We grab, we compete, we sometimes hurt others because we want higher recognition. Okay, some people even go to the extent of committing illegal means or doing something which they are not supposed to do, just because they want higher social status or wealth or whatever for the recognition behind. Some people resort recognition from showing off, so they show off their status with branded things, car, house, or even sometimes posting onto Facebook, social media. Actually, they want recognition. So we will do a lot of things. In the meantime, we may hurt people around us because we want to chase after this recognition. We are very careful of how others look at us. This one they call social stigma or something. We always want others to look up to us. Okay? When people think that we are good, they recognize us, we feel good. You know the feeling? You feel you are floating one. Okay? You feel you're floating, you see? So, and you feel respected. Also, you feel important. Okay? So, the third emotion that we go after is, this one very, very easily seen among all of us. Loving attachment. Who doesn't go after loving attachment? I think all of us do lah. Okay? So, loving attachment divided into two. Okay? Number one, falling in love. This one go back to our young old days, whereby we like the feeling of falling in love. That's why a lot of people like to read love novels, watch love movie, especially women. We also imagine ourselves the main actress or main actor inside. I have a friend who's in her 40s. She still dreams that she paktor with Lau Tak Wah. She dream already, never mind. After woke up, she will try to recall and remember. And when she meet us, she will tell. She even go to the extent to tell us how dreamy and how good the feeling was. And she's in her 40s. See, so this feeling, a lot of people like, falling in love. So because of this, a lot of people start to give in unconditionally until they lost themselves. Okay, so they become illogical. Okay, that's why the Cantonese saying, 問世間情為何物，直教人生死相許 meaning ask the world, what is love? Until people will die for it. That's why we have a lot of committing suicide because of love affair, or maybe I kill the other person because out of jealousy. All these are love relationship. So this falling in love thing will make a person feel very dreamy, very sticky, and you feel very, very wanted by the other person. So we want the feeling of being wanted. Again, this is something we chase after. Okay, not only we want to maintain it, sometimes we want to intensify it. Especially when we do not have self-worth, worst. If a person doesn't know how to love themselves, worse, this feeling, they want others to love them in a very intensive manner. Okay, so this is falling in love. Okay, number two. This one, all of us, is more relevant because we are already in our 40s, 50s, relationship between family. Okay, family relationship. So here, because of chasing after loving attachment with our spouse, our children, so we sacrifice unconditionally again. Actually, not unconditionally. We sacrifice overly until we lost ourselves here. We do everything we can for them. So we thought that this is love. Okay, sacrifice. So don't forget, when we still think that we are sacrificing for family members, what is running behind? Expectation. Okay, so the more we devote ourselves to a family until we lost our own self-worth, this is something not very healthy, because what is building behind is expectation. We will expect the family members to treat me well. That's why a lot of times you start hearing people say, how come they don't appreciate me? How come nobody care? How come they don't see my sacrifice? So a lot of parents will think that children, they don't know how to feel grateful towards parents. And also another relationship with friends. Sometimes we have friends, we call brother, we call sister, So, and we talk about English, I don't know what you call, yi hei, that kind of, emotion, brotherhood. And at the end of the day, or all betrayer. So, gala, this time, especially among the gangster, many of them came back and told me they were being fooled when they were younger. All this brotherhood thing, right? So, within this loving attachment, what do we achieve? We want sense of belonging. We want to feel wanted by others so that we feel important. We feel indispensable. And because of love feelings, sometimes when we don't get, we exert pressure. Okay? We demand, we command, or we try to force it. So then we start to hurt the people around us. Okay, lastly, what is the last emotional trap that we fall into? This one, very, very common. Excitement. A lot of us thought excitement is happiness. So we chase after excitement. We thought it was happiness. Because with the growing of time and all the challenges in life, many of us cannot be quickly delighted anymore. Don't know how to feel happy easily. Okay, so that's why we create a lot of excitement. Even some people during the excitement, they cannot laugh because too eroded the feeling after all the disappointments, because of high expectations in life, after all the hurt, the betrayal, So that's why we cannot find happiness anymore. So we thought create happiness by creating excitement. Okay, all these are not real happiness. Usually we want excitement because we want to run away from, number one, past hurts. A lot of people are very inferior or very insecure because of the childhood. Many a times when we do coaching, I realize a lot of internal hurt are actually from childhood. Okay, but if you can trace that, actually even from past life, right? So when all this past hurt is not addressed, we are very insecure, very inferior. When we grew up, it's still there, see? It is still within our consciousness, and we feel very lousy about it. So we chase after excitement in order not to be reminded with all these lousy experiences. Okay? Number two, we ran away also because of some unresolved issues in life. Maybe relationship with spouse, family problems, or maybe some career bottleneck. So all these unresolved issues, we are trapped. That's why we don't know what to do and don't know how to resolve it. We don't care. We just go for happiness, the so-called happiness. And lastly, emptiness within because of a low self-esteem. Maybe there's no achievement. You don't feel good about yourself because what happened in life is not a bed of roses. You feel very empty inside. Okay? These three predicaments are already good enough to bring us frantically chase after excitement. Okay? So, and then another unresolved issues which is bothering everybody, you know what was that? Very, very innate, very, very subtle, but nobody sees it. But it's disturbing all of us. Death. Death. Actually, behind us, we cannot fully 100% happier because there's an unresolved matter called death. Okay? So when you are becoming so step back and reposition and so refined, you can actually identify. Actually, a lot of times we trace back this little subtle unresolved issue of death can actually cause every corner of our life smeared with a kind of feeling which is actually sad and helpless. But this one you need to be very refined to see. That's why going beyond birth and death is very, very important. You know. So anyway, coming back to excitement. So what do? Excitement? We throw parties, we go for dinner and dinner, non-stop arranging dinner. We travel, we have group activities, we go and join all the societies. Okay, we will create programs. Sometimes we spend a bit more by buying new car, new house, decorating, renovating. All these are excitements. Okay, and the worst one, people will start to go into something like alcohol, speeding, and even drugs. Okay, like they were talking about, flakka. Flakka is a type of drug. You eat already, you don't have to sleep, and you keep laughing on. You keep laughing whole night. So until you become zombie. And then after that, you take the knife, go out and kill. They got this kind of drug in America lah. Here I don't know, I don't think so. So that's why sometimes this kind of emptiness inside and all the unresolved thing can be so terrible that we look for excitement to the extent small little drug cannot calm you down anymore. So you need something more, which is like this type of drug that can make us kill others. Okay, so imagine how the mind can work against us, Okay. So how to maintain your excitement? We have to work very, very hard. Why? Creation of excitement need money, right? So we have to make more and more money. We work harder and harder, stress ourselves up, and then here we work very hard to make money. There we work very hard to spend the money. Then only we feel a peace. But the next thing next to it is what? Tiredness. Then you got to start all over again. It's just like a friend was saying. He said, I work so hard from Monday to Friday. Sure lah, Saturday and Sunday, I must enjoy myself. Okay? So her Saturday and Sunday even more busy than her Monday to Friday. And then come Monday, very tired. So many people are doing the same thing over and over again, 1 year, 52 weeks, same. The worst thing about excitement is what, we always think if we don't enjoy, we lose out. This thing, this concept, I must enjoy myself. Or else I lose out. Especially when everybody is doing it, I also want to do. Just like going traveling. Are you sure so nice to travel? You don't feel tired? Tired, isn't it? Maybe first few times, okay lah. After that, keep going. I see some friends keep going. Are you not tired? He say, yeah, tired. But if I don't go, I feel very shortchanged in life. So must go. Some even overload the credit card to sustain excitements. Getting loan for it, nowadays seems youngsters are like that, So they will resolve with what? With all the unhealthy activities to get money. That's why when we trace back into our emotion, it was this hurt, unresolved feelings, or the emptiness inside us make us want to go for excitements. Okay? So this is the number 4th. Okay? Again, reminder, they are not wrong. These 4 feelings are not wrong. They are merely emotions that arouse by us. The biggest myth is we attach to it. That's why it becomes trap. We can have satisfaction, recognition, loving attachment, and excitement. But the problem with it is we attach to them. And we make all these emotions becoming a trap to our life. Okay? So, why do we attach? Because we are very deluded. We thought there was an I. I, the ego, I. Okay? So, when the I is very small, we feel uncomfortable. But in order to make our I big, we boost our ego. Okay, what do we use to boost the ego? Are these 4 emotions. These 4 emotions are very fair. Okay, very fair. You look around, a lot of rich people who are very rich already. Very, very rich. Even some of my clients. You ask them not to work, they will refuse. But we will feel very puzzled. How come he's already so rich? Why he still want to work so hard? You also thought, why like that? Actually, why, That's why I say these 4 emotions very fair. Because it was not the material gains that is actually in question. It is actually these 4 emotions that they are looking for. They want the excitement to get the project executed, and they want the satisfaction of getting things done. And they want the recognition that people think I'm still good. The family members cannot leave me because I am good. So even rich people, they will still go after these 4 emotions. That's why they cannot stop. Okay? So that's why it's very fair. Poor people go for these 4 emotions. Rich people also go for these 4 emotions. Because at the end of the day, all of us are manipulated by the I. We are like puppet. The ego behind entices us to chase after all this so that the ego can be inflated. Okay? So, when we chase after all this, definitely we will cause hurt. Through this hurt, we will commit karma. Okay? So, once you're attached to these 4, we thought they are happiness. The next thing is, I cannot lose them. Say, for example, recognition. Once you are being put onto the pedestal, you cannot lose them. Because the attachment is already there. So is your loving attachment. You cannot lose them. So that's why you become very trapped. Do you think we can easily lose all of this? Definitely, because we are in samsara. What are the 2 major samsaric law that is governing all of us? Impermanence and non-self. And when impermanence and non-self is at work, nothing can be easily maintained. Correct or not? But we are so attached to all this one. That's why we suffer. So what we do is, we want the 4 emotions so hard, sometimes to the extent we hurt the people around us by committing bullying and abandoning act. Bullying definitely because we are competing. Abandoning is in the name of I'm very busy, no time for all the people around me. When we commit these 2, we are committing a lot of karmic debt and karma creditors. We hurt the people around us, we create karma creditors, especially those who are overly attached. They cannot lose the recognition, they cannot lose the social status, they will do something bad to even gain it. Okay, so we commit karmic creditors. What about karmic debts? Because throughout the pursuit, definitely we scheme, we plan, we have some nasty thoughts, we get angry, we are worried, we are scared, you have all these very negative emotions. Then karmic debt start to build up behind us. So hurting ourselves and hurting others, and all these are stored under our 8th consciousness. Hurting ourselves, another layer is negative tendencies. While we are chasing, competing to maintain all these emotions, we usually become aggressive, nasty, and we become unreasonable. All these aggravate our tendencies. And finally, who do we see? Our 4 old friends. Our 4 old friends: fear, anger, guilt, and sadness. Now, can you see the relationship? 4 negative emotions are actually the sons. 4 emotional traps are the mother. Okay? 4 emotional trap is actually the mother of 4 negative emotions. So, last time when I was talking about 4 negative emotions, some people said, "Hey Carol, how come 5 PAT all sob story one? No happy story." I said today all happy story. But all these happy story are trappings of life. Okay, now we already know a bit of these 4 emotional traps. Until here, everybody understand? Anybody don't have these 4 emotion? We are human, that's why. Okay. Samsaric world. So until here, okay, everybody? Okay, next. So the Buddha said, okay, inside samsara, there is rising and falling, arising and perishing, right? So this is samsara. That's why we suffer. Okay, rising, falling, impermanence and non-self are all inside. So the Buddha said, why don't we go out of samsara, which is non-arising, non-perishing, 不生不灭. 生生灭灭, that means rising, falling is samsaric product, the game of samsara. So the Buddha said, if you want to go beyond samsara, let's do something called non-rising and non-perishing, so that you don't have to perish, because you don't arise. When you don't arise, you don't have to do so many things, right? Correct? It's just like you want to throw a party. Okay, so arising start. After the party, you have to clean up, right? So all these are the perishing you have to clear up. So if you don't throw the party, what happened? Nothing to clean up. Right? So the Buddha said, in life, a lot of times you don't have to arise. It's only our inadequacy make us go and do a lot of things. When you come to Diamond Sutra, they talk about the 4 perceptions. This perception of arising is very, very rampant in all of us. We want to do something that happened. But once happened already, there's so many things following. Even like one marriage, you go get married. That one is also another arising. Okay, perishing. Until everybody dies, only you can perish. Or else how? Correct or not? So arising, got married, then after that, they have children, then got financial problem, got in-law problem, children brought up problem, education problem, all this arising lah. So you want to wait for all this to finish, rising, falling, it takes up the entire life of our effort. That's why the Buddha said, this is rising and falling. Even like marriage, it's just like we are chasing after loving attention. Okay, so 4 emotional traps after that lead us to 4 negative emotion. Okay, so then after that we have to address all these fear, anger, guilt, sadness, so much work, because all started off from arising. Okay, so the Buddha said, why do you want arising? The Buddha said, why not we have this concept of non-arising, therefore no perishing work to be done. So now the whole thing is how not to have arising.
When we are in this samsara, being a lay person, whereby we have so many happenings around us, so many relationships around us, and we are not monastic. This is the skill that is practiced in the Bodhisattva path.
This is the effort. Effort. What is your effort? This entire year we are talking about effort. Okay? Again, just now we were saying, the 4 emotions are actually innocent. It was a creation of our mind. It was only because of the ego wanted to attach to this emotion. That's why we are trapped. Okay? So now, the crux is actually the attachment. We attach to it. It's not that you cannot enjoy the 4 positive emotions. We can, but don't get attached to it. How not to attach then?
As a lay person, because we are not monastic, we can still enjoy the 4 emotions. But the important thing is that we must learn how not to attach to these 4 emotions. We can actually taste these emotions, but not attach to it.
The difference between Arahat path and the Bodhisattva path is such that for Arahat, there is no arising of emotion, because you are not supposed to dabble into emotions, like loving, attachment, all this. This is Arahat path. But for the Bodhisattva's path, there shouldn't be any arising in attachment. We can taste the emotion, but you cannot attach to the emotion. Like satisfaction, excitement, or the loving emotions. For Bodhisattvas, you can taste them, but we cannot attach to it. Okay? Attach to them. So that's why there's a non-arising of attachment for Bodhisattvas, but non-arising of emotions for Arahat path. Okay? So, how do we detach? Effort to detach within positive emotions. Negative emotions, no problem. Everybody don't want. That's why averse. Okay? But positive emotions, we want, we love, we chase after. We are so attached. Again, the foundation of our skill. Step back and reposition. Go back inside the 4 emotions. Go back inside your satisfaction, your recognition, your loving attachment, and your excitement. Go back in there into that situation. Start to step back and reposition and ask 2 questions. Ask ourselves, is it so nice? Is it so good? Is it so real? Do you know that when we are inside the 4 emotions, the 4 emotions is actually behind us and we are enjoying ourselves? What we need to do is to step back and turn around, look at the emotion, and ask yourself, is it so good? Is it so nice? Once you saw it, your attachment 50% gone. You get me enough? It's like, for example, your recognition. People say that you are good. You feel very good. You feel very good. During the you feel very good, quickly step back and reposition and look at your emotion. And ask yourself, so good. Is this feeling so good? Okay, you use excitement. You go travel that time. Very excited, very excited. Inside the bus, you ask yourself, so nice traveling. So excited. Always step back and reposition. You thought very excited situations. You go back in there. You ask this question. The moment when you ask, you are actually stepping back and reposition. You see it. You saw it. Then, is it worth to pay the price to maintain it? Worth it or not? This one is especially loving attachment. You love somebody, for example, your spouse, say my husband, I love my husband so much. During the loving moment, you step back and reposition and you look at him. A lot of people say, "Wow, put lang sui." You try inside your heart, you don't have to tell him, right? You pull back and then you look at him. Wow, the price to pay for this relationship, worth it. We are not trying to say, he is no good or your wife is no good or your husband. Because of the attachment, we want to soften our attachment, dilute the attachment. Not only I die, he also die. The moment after you leave the loving scene, you start to call, where are you? Where are you coming back? Go with who? Because of the attachment. So the moment you want to detach, help yourself to step back and reposition by asking the 2 questions. Is it so nice? Okay, maybe we can try a few examples. Okay, say for example, satisfaction. People like to work very hard, rush, next, very efficient, very busy, that type of people. In between, you slow down and you pull yourself out. What are you chasing for? You are chasing for the recognition and the satisfaction, You feel good, you're so solid, so important, I can do everything within this timing with least resources. Then the moment you pull yourself out, actually you slow down. Okay, you slow down. And for people who ask for command, for respect, sometimes when people are very scared of you or very, listen to our words because of fear and force, within that emotion, you wake up and see. You ask yourself, is it so nice, this feeling? Don't you see the ugly side of yourself? And you have to maintain this, all the time you have to keep this aggression in front of all these people, not tired. Sometimes you start to practice this stepping back and repositioning within the emotion, within the happening of the emotion. It helps us to wake up within the midst of a dream, Okay, so it's recognition. When people look up to us, wow, we feel floating. So ask, so nice. You have to maintain, When somebody say, "Oh, you beautiful," make sure every time you go there also beautiful. We have to maintain. You feel very tired. When others say that we are very capable, we are very smart, so all these are traps, Put yourself up onto the pedestal, very difficult to come down. That's why wise people always try to be very, very low profile. Because they know all these are trappings of life. Especially when I heard somebody say, "Wow, you are such a good mother." Who show a lot of things to do already. Good mother. Make sure we maintain as a good mother if you take a lot of pride on this. And that will exhaust all your energy just to maintain this. Alright, next, loving attachment. Loving attachment is really a very big delusion. This feeling of love is actually an illusion that is created by ourselves. It's not the other party, Let's say I love a man. This man is only an instigator. The loving feeling actually created by my mind. Lately in Japan, there are a lot of couples divorced. Why? Because the man go and get, the rubber toy woman as companion, put inside the house. And all this is a real story in the newspaper. So she start to fall in love with this rubber toy until the wife cannot take it. Initially, it was just a toy, So after that, he fell madly in love with the toy, And when the reporter asked him, he said, she is so lovely because she doesn't talk. That's why many families actually divorce because the wife cannot take it. Okay, so now ask ourselves, how come a person can fall in love with a toy? They even asked the Japan government to recognize the marriage with comic, comic cartoons, the comic figure, to recognize marriage, that means give marriage certificate. How come somebody can fall in love with a cartoon or a rubber woman? Because the love is not from the other side. It's actually created by ourselves. That's why when you love somebody, actually it's a delusion. We create the love. So happen that person was only the object. That's all. You get me? That means this love is a delusion created by the mind. Many years back when I was in my early 20s, I fell in love with a man. Okay? Very handsome man. Okay? Can still remember his name, Edward. So we started relationship like, starting. So one day I was singing in my living hall. I trained my vocal. I love singing, okay? So while I was singing, I still remember I was singing Celine Dion. Love doesn't ask why, what I say, huh? So while I was singing the song, I was so into the song and the melody. Suddenly, I saw myself arousing the loving feeling from within. It's not real. It was the song that made me feel falling in love. Then suddenly, I think to myself, hey, how come I fall in love when I'm singing? Then I look at Edward's face. Suddenly his face all blur. It was an insight. Sometimes meditation, you also see this kind of insight. It was an insight that tells me, hey, you're falling in love because of the song that aroused it within you only. Nothing to do with the man. That time I know. Actually, a lot of feeling we arouse and create ourselves. So when we are attached to it, we are actually attaching to something which is elusive one, because can be created. Okay, it's just like you fall in love with 5 men. What is the common thing in this whole thing? You love what? But all different men. What? Not that man. All different men. That means all these men are objects. The love from you actually we create. Okay? So that's why within that we can ask ourselves, hey, you so love man, this man or this woman, so love. Actually, I song sendiri only, I created one. That time you try to pull yourself out and then you ask questions. Is it worth when you are so attached to this person, you have to give in everything? What is the price behind? This one I share with you personally. I find easier to detach from a person, not to say I want to be bad, I just want to be detached only. I always try to remember the nasty side of that person. I don't want to hate him, but I want to nullify my attachment. You get me, because I very like him, but when he hurts me that time, I remember his face. Remember, okay? I forgive, but I don't forget. I forgive, but I don't forget because I know I'm going to be trapped another round. You get me now? So the moment when you feel very attached, remember the nasty side of him. Within the falling in love that time, or being very attached that time. So are our children. Many years ago, I met a friend. He kept complaining about the daughter. Disobedient, no manners, that. So, okay. So one fine day, I saw him telling me, he said, he didn't say he's happy but from his facial expression, he was really happy because he said after work, he went back, the daughter squeezed orange juice for him and then served him very nicely. Wow, he's so happy. So immediately I know why he keep complaining last time. Because every time the daughter doesn't give him that emotion that he wanted, he will feel disappointed. That's why he keep looking out for this emotion, that, the loving attachment from this daughter. You see not? So it's always a trap, The Cantonese saying, 有幾耐風流就有幾耐折墮. The more you enjoy something, actually it's a trapping. You can enjoy, but you have to be very, very skillful. Later we'll come to this. If you can do this, you can be very skillful. You can enjoy, but not attach.
This is the Bodhisattva skill. As lay people, we have to use the Bodhisattva skills because all these 4 emotions are everywhere around us. We are not in a monastery, we are in life. That's why we lay people will have to learn how to detach from all these 4 emotions. By not attaching to these 4 emotions, we are calling it as non-arising. Non-arising of what? Non-arising of attachment, not the event. The event can happen, but it just doesn't affect me because in between, I know the skill how to step back and reposition and not be affected by all these 4 emotions.
Okay, so finally, excitement. Excitement during parties, during traveling, during whatever you feel very, very excited. You try to step back and reposition and ask again, is it so good? Is it so great? And then the price to pay, and then all that I need to do to maintain all this. Immediately, the first question, 50% of the attachment gone. Because you start to see it. Okay? Another 50% will go when you think of the price you need to pay to maintain the emotions. You sometimes have to do a lot of things which you don't want to do, or say a lot of things you don't want to say, just to maintain this emotion keep coming. So these are very wise words within a trap. Okay? Because our purpose is to wake up inside a dream. These 4 emotions give us a lot of dreamy feeling. 4 emotions are the product of samsara. They are the product of a dream. Outside a dream, these 4 emotions cannot work one. That's why inside the dream, you wake up and see the attachment gone by half. Okay? So, and all these feelings, you can overlap one, For example, if I buy a car, I see satisfaction, I see recognition, I see excitement. When I fall in love or get married, I see recognition, I see loving attachment, and I see excitement. That's why the whole world chasing after all these events, because behind it are all the 4 emotions trapping us. Okay? Some people will tell me, I taught them this method. Then they said, when they went inside the dream, I still feel very nice. Never mind. See another round. See 3rd round. See 4th round. See 10th round. Ask the same question. You see, is it still the same? Because some people are very stubborn. They're very attached. Okay? Keep asking yourself, is it so good? Is it so great? And then the price to pay, and then all that I need to do to maintain all this, So keep asking. But this loving attention or whatever, or emotion, if you see it every day, you get jelak on. But the problem is that we don't get jelak because we are not aware of it. All these emotions are behind. We are actually in front. We didn't see them. Okay? That's why we didn't confront these emotions. And until here, everybody can understand. Any questions? Under the Cantonese section, some of our friends came across this topic. They said by knowing these 4 emotional traps actually helped her a lot. Now she's not so crazy anymore. because she knows all this excitement, all these emotions are actually just to run away from something. At the end of the day, when you see somebody enjoying, every time go partying, all this, you don't feel envy anymore. Because you know why they are like that. They are very empty inside. That's why they are doing all this. So this friend of mine, she's also one of the party goer, So after she learned about this type of topics, suddenly she looked within this chasing after all these emotional traps. Never ending story. Okay, it was because of all this hurt inside. So that's why we are very trapped. So now we are learning how to go within that trap to actually detach ourselves. This hurt within us is not easily healed overnight, you see. But anyway, this type of emotional traps that comes out, we can address them outside, whereby we use detachment. Okay, some people said, wow, like that. Okay, we have 4 negative emotions: fear, anger, guilt, and sadness. Now, these 4 emotional traps, satisfaction, recognition, loving, attachment, and excitement, also cannot have. So, Carol, life no meaning lah. What do we have then if we don't chase after? So actually, again, these 4 emotions are innocent. We can have them. It's not that we cannot have. Okay? The culprit is actually the ego that attached to them. Right? So once attached, we tend to chase after or avoid. Correct? Because we're very scared. Okay? Because we don't know how to detach. For example, chase after, I don't have to explain. 4 emotional traps. Sure, we chase after because we like them. We avoid, sometimes we are very scared because we know that we are very attached. For example, recognition. Somebody say, I'm good. No, I'm not. Run away already. Got right? These are people. Or maybe we met with somebody that I love, but I'm very scared, so I run away. It's either you chase after or you run away because you don't know how to handle attachment. Okay? So, but when we know how to detach, we go back to the middle. Okay? These are 2 extreme. Extreme. Because either we chase or we avoid. So now, when we know how to handle attachment, what we do is that we don't have to chase after. Okay? We can taste them. We don't have to avoid them, but we can enjoy. This is middle way. When we know how to detach our ego from the emotions. Say for example, when I saw through the myth of these 4 emotional traps, I begin to wake up. But doesn't mean that I don't want them. I can have them. And in fact, to be truth, the person who knows how to detach can enjoy more than a person who doesn't know how to detach. You get me or not? When all these 4 emotional traps came along, a person who knows how to detach can enjoy to the maximum. Because I've got no fear of losing. Sometimes we hug a man or hug your spouse. You enjoy the loving feeling, but sometimes you're very scared because you're very worried you will lose this person. That kind of worry lah. When a person knows how to detach, he can enjoy these 4 to the maximum without any fear. Why? Because I know the moment I turn my back, I will drop these feelings like a worn tissue, a used tissue. Because I know how to detach. Of course, this one needs skills lah. That's why we are learning now. Okay? So, for example, when comes satisfaction, I still feel satisfied, but I don't attach to it. I still buy cheap things with quality product. I still feel very good about it, That's it lah. Good about it lah. That's it. But I will not look out for it. Okay? It goes the same with recognition. When somebody say, I'm very good, hey, thank you very much. Okay, that's it. That's it. You embrace it. You are not Nobody say I'm good one. How come? You don't look out for it. Okay? And you won't also, no lah, no. Actually not me, not me. No need lah. Say thank you. When somebody say we are beautiful, beautiful lah. Okay? And another one, loving attachment. Don't have to run away. You stand there when a person that come and show the love to you, embrace it and say thank you. Mommy, I love you. Yeah, thank you. So we don't have to run away. I don't want to attach with this loving attachment, or I keep looking out. Just like my mother, when we are nice to her, she's very happy, that we are nice to her. But at times we forgot to celebrate her birthday. She also forgot. Then we say, your birthday over already. Birthday okay, over, never mind lah. Last time we also never celebrate what? Those days are younger times. I also never celebrate. I say, never mind, we celebrate. Celebrate, okay, also happy. You can feel that there is no such energy waiting for you to celebrate. Where? Anniversary? Where? Birthday? Where's my cake? The one is you are actually chasing after already. Okay, we can taste and we can enjoy, but we don't chase or avoid. It goes the same with excitement. Excited, that's all. And after that you come back, life goes on. After all, after 1 or 2 times, you won't chase after already, or you don't yearn for it anymore. And when somebody organize, you go lah. But if time not right, and just don't go lah. You feel very at ease, at peace, because you know how to detach. And in fact, when you know how to detach, you can enjoy life to the fullest. That is the Bodhisattva's path. That's why you see this Madonna, press interviewed her. She actually asked the daughter to take marijuana. She encouraged the daughter to take. As long as when you don't want to take, all you need to do is to drop your marijuana, the other side, take the mineral water and flush down. Start anew. If you can do that, take whatever you want. That is her advice to her daughter. Because in life, there are too much of temptation really. You go in, but you must know how to detach. The day you detach, it is like a split of a moment. What can threaten us in life? Samsara is a place that we come for 2 things. Number 1, challenges. Number 2, temptations. Challenges we have to go through. That's why we learn the Bodhisattva virtues. Okay? But temptations, you have to know how to handle as well. So that's why the detachment within this temptation is very important. But how to detach? Go inside, go back to that same situation, step back and reposition, look at it, face to face with the emotion. Immediately, that satisfied, recognized feeling, the loving attachment and excitement suddenly drop by half. Starting, you may find no more zest inside, no more zest within. Starting is like that because you're not skillful. But the moment when you're skillful, you are like possessed. Possessed? That means you go inside the emotion, you enjoy to the maximum, but the moment time to come out, your mental got one sound, ding, you wake up already. That's it, you walk out. You can do that. Here you go all the way in. The next second, when talking about second, not few hours, second, you come out, you wake up. You can jump in, out, like that. Become very skillful. And in fact, you enjoy to the maximum because there's no fear of losing. You are not attached to it. If you want to try this one, try karaoke. Sing with emotion. Go in there. Play with the emotion. Follow the song. You may fall in love. You may cry. You may whatever. Follow what the song say. But the moment the music finish, put down the mic. That's it. Then you play with it. Emotion is like that one. This is something easy to try lah. You cannot find a person to try. Very dangerous. You get songs, because songs have a lot of melody, lyrics, you can go inside, you can come out, you can sing a fast song, a love song, a sad song, a song that's very abusive one. You sing all this. Then you see how you can go in and come out as quickly as throwing a worn tissue. Tissue? Once you throw, that's it. You move on. So when we are attached to these 4 emotional traps, we will see the sun, the 4 emotions. Remember our 4 old friends. Okay? However, once we are not attached, okay, what we see is happy feeling, we feel peaceful, we feel contented, and we feel light. Why? Because for a bodhisattva, if in the dream you can enjoy these 4 to the maximum, okay, without attachment, and when you are not in the dream and there's no event, you are actually inside 4 Brahma Vihara. Okay? Kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. 慈悲喜舍. This is the 4 vihara that the saint recite. Okay? So most of the time they are here. But if you ask them to enjoy themselves in the samsaric world with the samsaric being, no problem. They can still play with this. Right? But most of the time when we are not attached, easily we go back to 4 Brahma Vihara. When you are in kindness, you feel very happy. Why? Because whatever we see, we only see the bright side of things. See the good side of things. Even a bad person, the bodhisattva will see with full compassion. Because understand why he is like that. Remember the first deeds of ours? Nobody wants to be bad. Right? So this is actually kindness. Then compassion. We have a lot of compassion. Actually for 慈, for Mandarin, 慈 is you giving happiness. 悲 is you pull out the suffering. 慈悲. 慈 is giving happiness. 悲 is pulling out the suffering for sentient being. Okay, that's why you have a lot of compassion. Okay, to help to eradicate the suffering of the sentient being. And sympathetic joy, when you have a lot of sympathetic joy, you have a lot of contentment. You see others doing well, you feel very good for them. And you make sure everybody do well, including the bad people. Okay? They say, hey, lately a lot of bad people, Hopefully all the policemen will catch the bad people. We all think like that, right? My mother said, no. Let's hope that bad people be a bit more kind so that they don't hurt the victim so badly. That's what she wished. Because to her, bad people, why they rob? Because they also got their predicament. You see? People with sympathetic joy will have a lot of contentment. And finally, equanimity. Okay, what is the meaning of equanimity? From the practical perspective, I feel this in Mandarin they use 舍,舍is like giving. Actually, this 舍 is not the giving 舍. Equanimity, I think the word that I like to use for me, I like to use is surrendering. Surrendering. This is one of the highest state of mind. You know why we surrender? Because we know whatever that happened is gonna be better than now. Whatever. Even though a calamity, even though a disaster, even though something bad is gonna happen, I know it's gonna be better. Why? Because I need this lesson. So the moment you see through this, so many times, we know actually suffering is good for all of us. By the time you already convinced, deeply believe that it's really meant for all of us, it's good for all of us. We only thought, good things happen to us is good. bad things no good. That's why we always go for good and don't want bad. But when you realize actually all the bad is to bring us back to the path, is to make us a better person, is actually getting ourselves ready to learn a new lesson. The bad is actually good, That's why all the bodhisattvas, they don't come down and disturb our suffering. In the eyes of the Mahabodhisattvas, suffering is very, very, very good. Break this concept. Don't always think suffering is no good. Without suffering, we are not what we are. We become very nasty, very terrible, So in the eyes of the Mahabodhisattva, suffering is very good. So if we practice as we go through and to break all the concept about, actually all the bad is not bad, It's really good for us. By the time when you can fully break all this concept, one day we will realize whatever that happened to me is actually better for me, man. It's really better for me. That time, the word called this type of people, surrender. Come lah. You surrender because, you need to surrender. Don't understand what is surrender. How to surrender when I don't understand the whole loop, how it works. When you understand the Dharma from all perspectives, you see through already, then your wisdom arise, especially your Panya wisdom, supramundane wisdom arise. Wow, you start to realize all these surrendering, compassion, kindness, joy, all these are the effect, effect. So we don't learn the effect. We understand the Dharma, we practice the Dharma, the effect will come by itself. So that's why when a bodhisattva or a saint, if let's say you can learn how to detach, all you need to do is to learn how to detach yourself within all these emotions and handle all the temptation. You can enjoy all these positive emotion to the fullest. So you can do that. Yes. That's why the Mahayana, they always say suffering can be actually converted into bodhicitta, which make us rise above and get out of samsara. Okay, so that's why Mahabodhisattva, they won't intervene into our suffering one. They know that we need it. We need it. Okay, so until here, I think conclude already. So anybody has any question? Any question? Yes.
I think earlier you mentioned that suffering is good, but I am not agree with that.
Is it? Okay, share.
Because equanimity or upekkha in the traditional understanding is more like you flow along with whatever that comes, because you understand that it's caused by conditions, that's caused by effects and conditions. It's not because of something else. Now, if you say that suffering is good and it's awakening, I think that's what you mean. We need to understand that in a very spiritual way, meaning that it's not so much of just basically real life suffering. We are talking about the becoming, like why are we even born to this samsaric world. So I think equanimity is not so much of like what you say. I think it's more like
you were saying,
understanding of what comes, and we are at peace with what comes. And because whatever that comes is caused by causes and conditions, so it is a lot of time not because we can control. What we can control is to change our karmic effect, not so much of other things.
Like what you were saying, equanimity, you're saying that whatever that comes you can accept, right? You are peaceful with it. The one is a surrendering lah. Whatever you come, surrendering. Okay, how do a person become surrendering? Because a lot of times things come, we cannot be peaceful because that thing is not a good thing. Correct or not? I'm not peaceful because to me this coming like bankruptcy. Okay, I face with bankruptcy. I cannot accept because it's a suffering. Okay, so I don't have surrendering. I don't have equanimity. But with equanimity, what do? I accept bankruptcy come lah. But you know why this thing from suffering can make me like that? Because from that bankruptcy, I realize, wow, I learned a lot about myself, I really need this bankruptcy to wake myself up. I become wiser. I start to understand life. I start to know that what I did in the past was very wrong. So all these lessons make me realize one day all the suffering that come forth to me is actually to make me a better person. And because of this, I embrace suffering. I love suffering. Please come. I need the lesson. You get me? So because of this thing I can break through, in my eyes, there's no more suffering. Because to another person, this is suffering. But to me, I don't think it's a suffering. It's a lesson to me. I need all this. I need to enrich myself. So when we come to that level, what come may. Really, what come may. Because I am very happy even though it is a bad suffering. Even if I born here as a human being, I know suffering. You know what is the worst suffering for human being? It's the body. You know this body? Every day, all the things that we do is because we have this body. To protect, to maintain, to stop all the sickness, to do away the pain, Actually, the biggest bad karma of human realm is the body. Okay, so but when I come here with the body, even though it is a suffering, because born as a human, I'm not saint, right? I realize I really need this body to learn, It was here I start to have this relationship with my spouse, with my family members, This body is like a vehicle for me to come into this dream, to swim inside this dream, to learn and to grow with the people here, so that I learn my Dharma in a different realm, with a different people. You see not? So that's why I suddenly realize, this is not suffering. To me, this is interesting. Even though I have to suffer. But this suffering, in other people's eyes, called suffering. But in my eyes, why do you think it's suffering? Because this is a vehicle you come by, you have to carry with us. It is something that you need so that you learn. You get me, not? Then from there, you start to see all suffering are not suffering anymore. Suddenly you open up, you will find what come may lah. What come may, because of the understanding, suddenly you are arrived. Because that's called surrender. Once we surrender, once you can truly surrender, not you go to church, people ask you to surrender, that kind of surrender. The one you don't understand, I cannot surrender because my ego is still very big. How to surrender? This one, I got no more ego already because all my ego dwindling down to only one thing, learning. Learning only. I'm learning. Even temptation, good things, I'm also learning. Even bad things, I'm also learning. Even death, I'm also learning. Even sick, I'm also learning. Even pain, I'm also learning. Learn. To me, all these are no more good, no more bad. It's a matter of journey and learning. That's all. The good and the bad, just like the loving attachment, we create one. We human beings like to separate the views, good, bad, high, low, right, wrong. So the moment we have all these, we have a lot of suffering because we want this, we don't want that. But the moment all these are equate, you actually flatten all these views, it becomes a straight line. Nothing threatens us already. He also can. Whatever come, also can. Like that lah. The Bodhisattva like to convert all this suffering into not suffering in his eyes. In the samsara's eyes, it's called suffering. But to him, he disagree how the samsara beings see things. So he actually suddenly become a saint. Get me not? So what else is more powerful than a person who are not scared of suffering one? Not even scared of dying, pain and sickness. This is the most powerful already lah. I feel lah.
If you don't mind, can I just offer one little tip here?
Oh sure, please.
Of all the things that you said and all this, the non-attachment, I only have one advice. Go for the Vipassana meditation. The moment you see anatta, anicca, and dukkha, you are practicing everything that you are saying. So
Correct.
instead of going through, looking at it, just learn meditation, spend time on meditation. That would answer all the questions.
Okay, actually that one is another path. Okay, this path, going Vipassana, sitting and looking at the 3 characteristics, is the monastic path. Okay, but you need to spend time. You really need to spend time. But a lot of us don't have that kind of time. You get me not? So we still have a lot of obligations. We still have loved ones. I go meditate. My wife, my husband don't lie. But doesn't mean that we will be deprived from learning. Do it in daily life. Go and meditate while you are in karaoke. Correct. You still have to meditate. Actually, these are meditation because stepping back and repositioning. What are you doing? You're actually meditating in daily life. The monastic part, unless you have that good merits, have that kind of money, financial, time, people around you must support, So you must have this, you see. Or else we can still do in our daily life. Daily life, meditate while karaokeing. Okay. Okay, so any question?
The thing is, for example, if in Nibbana, in this existing life now, we can be in Nibbana. But not means that after Pari Nibbana, then only we can go to Nibbana. So the thing is, we can have what you call non-existence of rising and falling in this existence. And therefore, without the rising and ceasing, if you can have the skill, all right, the skill and the art of living a virtuous life, then all these as mother and son things will not arise at all. And for example, the body that you say is this physical body is because of our conventional truth or virtual reality which we need to be in the human form, in this human realm, to achieve Buddhahood. So likewise, things like this, what you say, some I agree, some I do not agree. That's why I'm asking you to investigate the truth.
Which part you say you don't agree about?
I think there are some part that you have just mentioned I also don't agree. Like you say, when there's consciousness, then there's suffering. It's not necessary. You can have consciousness, but when you have no desire, then there's no becoming, then there's no suffering.
You can have consciousness, there's no becoming.
You can have consciousness, but without desire.
We have without desire. Yeah. And then?
Then there will be no suffering.
So where are you that time?
Yes, you can have that.
You have once you are enlightened.
You will be in this existing life as an arahant.
Arahat, yes, correct. You can become an arahat and cease. Okay, cease. That's why you see, the bodhisattva path is slightly different from arahathood. Okay, this is human being, human. All right, this is arahat. That's why arahat will go into cessation. Okay, this is human. This one we have a lot of arising. Okay, the bodhisattva come back here, in the middle. We don't cease everything. We still come back to the samsara and self-sentient being. That is the difference. If let's say if you want to go into cessation, that means you go into emptiness. Once you're empty, like for example, you say no more craving, then you got no more arising. Okay, no problem. You can stay as arahat. Okay? But Bodhisattva, my coming from is most of us are lay people. Once you are lay people, it's not easy to go into arahathood. This one you need to go to monastery because you need cessation. Once you are an anagami, if I'm not wrong, you cannot live inside worldly world already. You will die one. But if you force him, he will die one. No. Let's say you don't let him go back to monastery, he will perish one. No. Anagami and above. Anagami and above. So arahat, anagami also cannot seem so. They cannot live inside worldly world anymore. So that's why our talk, actually 5PAT, very much the Bodhisattva's path. We are not so much the arahat path. That's why we don't stop at cessation. Once you cease, we try not to arise, okay, with concepts only. But we still live life. We use the consciousness without concepts to live life and continue to save sentient being. This one is slightly different. You get me, not? So it's really a different path. So see what we want. Yes, Andrew?
Talking about chasing after, I can understand. Then, like, how to say, like beginners, we learn that, we don't chase after. Then the next thing we understand is, then we avoid. But then now you are saying that, okay, we don't avoid. Can you talk more about this or not? Because my mind thinking is, don't chase after, then avoid. So can you talk about more about this?
That's why, you see, the two sides, you see just now this one? The chasing is here. The avoid is here. So the Bodhisattva will come back, still taste and enjoy. You see the difference of the path. So if you use avoid, you go into monastery, okay one. Once you are in life, very hard to you avoid. Correct or not? So you must take a middle path. A middle path is to, same thing, you meditate, but inside samsara. You know what is avoiding meaning? Meaning you cannot go inside worldly world. You cannot, that's why we call avoid. Avoid meaning you look at monastery, you cannot touch girls. You have a lot of precepts. Yeah, because you see girls, you cannot look at them like that. Bodhisattva can, you can even marry. So this avoidance is not to say avoid, it's actually a precept. You have to be mindful to avoid the worldly contamination. Here we are fully contaminated as human beings. Bodhisattva, you come back, you are in a contamination and yet you are not contaminated. Like a what? Lotus from the mud. This one. You get me now?
I think I still don't agree with you saying that the avoid. Now you say the precepts. The precepts are actually rules for us to practice, meaning that like human being, I'm bounded by the law. So if I want to become enlightened, I have to follow some rules, including so do not arouse my emotions. But if you really think about it, if a person is fully enlightened, he probably are not bounded by rules anymore. So there's no more avoidance in that sense.
Okay, if let's say an arahat, let's say arahat really he either go back to nibbana, he just stay there. If he ever wants to come back to samsara, he has to start all over again. Unless you don't want, but
arahat still in this samsara. The mundane world. We are still there. So I think the word will be, we will not even avoid, we just see as in seeing, hear as in hearing. So
Okay, now the question is what is avoid? Okay, how do you classify avoid first?
Clash in philosophy. Because some of us, including me, we are very much Theravada.
Theravada, yes.
And Sister Carol, you probably are talking about Bodhisattva path,
yes.
which in a Theravadan world doesn't exist. We are all bodhisattva because on the way I wanted to become an arhat. Arhat is basically a kind of Buddha. Okay.
Arahat is
it's
not...
also a kind of Buddha because there are many different types of Buddha. We've got Pachika Buddha, we've got Sama Buddha, you know.
Pachika Buddha, more of the Pachika Buddha side.
Kind of Buddha, but they call it a hearer. So it is a different, I think it is a more of clash of philosophies than anything else.
It's not clash of philosophy. It is a different Dharma door. 法门 different Dharma door. Okay, Bodhisattva is a different Dharma door compared to Theravada. Theravada is very much, they don't talk about coming back to the worldly world to save sentient being. They don't. They are very much practicing themselves, and then after that, they go off. Bodhisattva very different. Bodhisattva still come back and pursue and help the rest. So that's why they have to learn to go into the middle. They cannot just stay, then go off. Let's say if an arahat comes back, he cannot become a bodhisattva. Okay. Okay. Okay, for Theravada, the arahat don't come back. But in the Mahayana text, there is a sutta called Lotus Sutta, Fa Hua King. The Buddha actually invited the arahat to come back, inviting only. You can have a choice. Because you're so skillful already, you can still help the rest. But you got to learn different skill now, how to get married, how to love a woman, detach, so how to handle money, So he has to learn this But he is very skillful with what? No more tam chan chi, 3 evil roots. Arahat no more 3 evil roots. But in terms of living in the worldly world, he is not so skillful He has to learn from there So that's why it is not a clash of views, because everybody also under the Buddha's teaching. It is a different Dharma door. So for Theravadins going after arahathood, yes, they are very lucky. Why? Because they have all the time to meditate and pursue the Dharma. For people who don't have the time, don't worry. You can still meditate while making money. Yes, raising your children, or else you will be very deprived if you don't have the Bodhisattva's path. Not everybody have a chance to go and meditate, nobody disturb, get a good master, and then the full time there. Not many people can do that. So that's why there's this path called the Bodhisattva's path, So Andrew, did I answer your question just now?
How to practice in daily life? So when think, then we just...
You go and try
That is a course called open awareness.
Open awareness. You
actually... to know is in daily life, it's not about the ending and things like that.
Okay, daily life, you go inside the things that you feel you're very attached. You pull yourself out, not physically, your mind pull yourself out and see, actually I'm so attached, I like this one so much and it costs so much of my maintenance, my everything. Is it worth it? Is it so good? Not avoiding, you are waking up only. Avoiding means that I don't go back already. I still go back. Maybe your wife hugged you that time, you feel very good. But you're very attached to her. So you're very worried about her. You scared something happened to her. So you feel that you cannot live without her. Okay, time to work already. Go in there, when she embraces you, think, okay, this is loving attachment. Okay? This attachment make me feel very attached, very trapped. So while during the course of intimacy, not to say intimacy whatever you actually inside that feeling you pull yourself out. You pull yourself out And then you start to look at the whole thing, you are actually attached to this emotion, Then you ask yourself, the two questions are, so good, Is it so good? So nice, So real? Worth it, Ask this kind of question. You don't ask her on her face, You just ask like that inside. Okay? One time. Next time, do it again. Do it again every time if you are very attached. Until the day you are not very attached, you are very skillful, you play along only. Love, sayang, okay. After that, finish, done. That's it. No more. That one talk about skill. Everything is in the mental level. Physical, you still do back the same thing. Okay? Buy flower birthday cake whatever, same. But you're emotionally, you're actually detaching because of the waking process at the conscious level. You get me or not? Anything. It can be money. You love money so much. You love the recognition so much. You want people to say you are good so much. You go back in there when people praise you. So nice. Is it so nice? The moment you start seeing that emotion, actually 50% of the attachment gone. You get me or not? This one is really for people living in life, wanting to detach. So you try and come back and share with us, Andrew. See whether you're successful or not. Anything it can be position, can be recognition, can be excitement. You like to do something very excited, So, okay. Verse of transference of merits. May the merits I accrue today help me to eliminate my karmic debts. May they support the development of wisdom, which reveals the ultimate truth that all phenomena are mind-made. May the merits also ripen conditions that will distance me from those inverted views of samsara made real by the ego, so as to awaken the deluded mind from this dream-like world of delusion. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.